It wasn't supposed to happen that night. Pelumi had come with a purpose. Strictly business. A contract revision. A financial structure adjustment for one of Kang Min-jae's offshore expansions. Numbers. Deadlines. Boundaries. Safe territory. But storms have a way of changing plans. Rain battered the glass walls of his penthouse like impatient fingers. Thunder rolled across the Lagos skyline, heavy and commanding. Pelumi stood near the long marble island in his kitchen, tablet in hand, walking him through risk exposure. "You're over-leveraged in Singapore," she said firmly. "If the market tightens, you'll have to liquidate aggressively." He leaned against the counter opposite her, sleeves rolled, tie loosened slightly. "No jacket tonight. No performance." "You assume I'll allow the market to tighten," he replied calmly. "You can influence many things," she said. "Not everything." A small pause. His eyes lingered on her longer than necessary. "And you assume I don't plan for that?" She stepped closer, placing the tablet down between them. "I assume you plan for control," she corrected. "Not vulnerability." The word lingered. Vulnerability. His gaze darkened slightly. "Careful," he said quietly. "With the truth. With me." The thunder cracked louder this time, sharp, sudden. Neither of them flinched. "You hate that I question you," she continued. "No," he said. "I hate that you see through me." That stopped her. Silence thickened between them. "I don't see through you," she replied softly. "I see complexity." His jaw tightened slightly. "That's worse." "Why?" "Because complexity invites attachment." The honesty stunned her. For a man feared across continents, he was startlingly direct when it came to her. "You're not afraid of enemies," she said. "No. But you're afraid of needing someone." His eyes flashed, not anger, recognition. He pushed away from the counter, closing the small distance between them. "You think this is about fear?" he asked. "I think you don't like losing control." "I don't." Her chin lifted slightly. "And you're losing it." The air snapped. His hand moved, not aggressively, but decisively. He grasped her wrist. Firm. Not painful. Just enough to stop her next step backward. The contact sent a jolt through her body. "Careful," he repeated, voice lower now. Her pulse raced. "Or what?" she challenged. His grip tightened slightly, still controlled, his thumb brushing the inside of her wrist where her pulse beat wildly. "You keep provoking me. And you keep responding." The storm outside raged harder. Inside, something more dangerous built. He released her wrist slowly, but his hand didn't move far. Instead, his fingers slid upward, tracing along her forearm, deliberate and unhurried. Her breath hitched. "You should leave," he said quietly. The words contradicted the way he was looking at her. "Do you want me to?" she asked. A long pause. "No." Her chest rose and fell more noticeably now. "Then stop pretending this is about control," she whispered. "It's not." "No." She stepped closer this time. On purpose. Their bodies nearly touched. "It's about restraint," she said softly. His jaw flexed. "You don't know how close I am to losing that." Her hand lifted, pressing lightly against his chest again, feeling the strength beneath his shirt, the rapid beat he tried to conceal. "Then don't lose it," she whispered. That was the breaking point. Not because of defiance, but because of permission. His other hand slid to her waist, firm, grounding, claiming space but not taking more than she allowed. "Tell me to stop," he murmured. The storm outside felt distant now. All she could hear was her heartbeat. "You talk too much," she said again, softer this time. And she kissed him. It wasn't gentle. It wasn't hesitant. It was collision. Weeks of tension, of circling, of power and pride, all crashing into one breathless moment. His hands moved instinctively, one at her waist, the other cradling the back of her neck, deepening the kiss with slow, deliberate pressure. He didn't rush. He explored, learned, tasted. And when she responded, fingers sliding into his hair, pulling him closer, something inside him snapped. Not control, but distance. He lifted her effortlessly, setting her on the edge of the marble counter without breaking contact. The cool stone against her thighs contrasted sharply with the heat between them. The kiss softened, slowed, shifted. His lips traced along her jaw, pausing near her ear. "Do you understand what you're doing to me?" he whispered. Her breath trembled slightly. Yes. And you're not afraid? She pulled him back to her lips in answer. Choice. Not surrender. Choice. His hands roamed carefully, memoizing curves, learning reactions, never crossing into force. The storm outside masked the sound of quiet laughter between heated breaths. For the first time, Kang Min-jae wasn't calculating. He wasn't strategizing. He wasn't dominating. He was simply reacting to her. And that terrified him more than any rival. When he carried her toward the bedroom, it wasn't conquest. It was inevitability. The lights were low. The rain relentless. And as he laid her down gently, hovering above her, searching her eyes one final time, he saw no fear. Only fire. You're dangerous, she whispered. His thumb brushed over her lips softly. So are you. And that night, the Korean Mafia boss who had claimed he wanted sugar discovered something far more intoxicating. Not sweetness, not submission, but a woman who met his fire with her own. And for the first time in his life, he didn't want to win. He wanted to burn with her. The next morning, Pelumi Adebayo woke up irritated. Not because of anything he had done, but because she had thought about him. Twice before sleeping. And once when she first opened her eyes. That alone annoyed her. She wasn't a woman easily distracted. Her life had been built brick by brick. Scholarships, sleepless nights, outworking rooms full of men who underestimated her because of her accent, her gender, her skin. She didn't get flustered by dangerous men in tailored suits. Yet Kang Min-jae's voice had followed her into her dreams. I don't chase women who are easy. I pursue the ones who fight. She exhaled sharply and reached for her phone. 6 missed calls from clients. 3 emails marked urgent. And 1 message from an unknown number. No name. No greeting. Just certainty. Her jaw tightened. Arrogant. Presumptuous. Infuriating. And somehow, thrilling. She deleted the message. Then blocked the number. Problem solved. Or so she thought. By noon, the glass doors of her high-rise office opened without announcement. Her assistant froze. Pelumi didn't have to look up to know who it was. The temperature in the room changed. Kang Min-jae entered as if the building had always belonged to him. 2 men remained outside the door, silent and imposing. He dismissed them with a subtle gesture before stepping further inside. Pelumi leaned back slowly in her chair, folding her arms. You have terrible manners, she said coolly. You blocked my number. You assumed access. He walked toward her desk, unhurried, controlled, like a predator who knew running was pointless. I don't enjoy being ignored. That sounds like a personal problem. A faint smile touched his lips. Most women softened when he smiled. Pelumi sharpened. He stopped in front of her desk, studying her. Today she wore a fitted navy suit, minimal jewelry, confidence like armor. She looked powerful in a different way than last night. Not glamorous, but commanding. You're different here, he observed. This is my territory. His gaze darkened slightly. And you defend it well. She stood. Not to intimidate, but to meet him eye to eye. They were close enough now that she could see the faint shadow of stubble along his jaw. Close enough to feel the heat radiating from him. You don't intimidate me, she said evenly. I don't try to. That's a lie. His eyes flashed, amused. I don't need to try. There it was again, that quiet, lethal confidence. He circled slightly around her desk, not breaking eye contact. You intrigue me, he admitted. That is rare. Buy a puzzle, she replied. It's cheaper. For a split second, he laughed. A low, unexpected sound that surprised even him. And that's when Pelumi noticed it. The crack in the armor. He wasn't used to being challenged, but he liked it. You think I want to control you, he said more quietly. You said you were having me tonight. That doesn't sound like equality. He stopped moving. Then stepped closer, slow enough to allow her to retreat if she wished. She didn't. I don't force what resists, he said, voice lower now. I test it. Her pulse quickened, though her face stayed composed. And if it pushes back? His gaze dipped briefly to her lips, not hungry, but considering, before returning to her eyes. Then I push harder. A shiver ran down her spine. Not fear. Challenge. You're used to women folding, she said softly. Yes. And that disappoints you. That made him pause. Really pause. Because she was right. I don't respect surrender that comes too easily, he admitted. The air between them thickened. There was no touching. No inappropriate movement. But the electricity was undeniable. He reached out, slowly, and adjusted the cuff of her sleeve where it had folded slightly. The gesture was intimate without being improper. Possessive without crossing a line. Have dinner with me, he said again. This time, no arrogance. Just intent. She studied him carefully. Why? His answer came without hesitation. Because you don't bow. Silence settled between them. Her breath was steady, but her mind was racing. He wasn't flirting like other men. He wasn't begging. He wasn't boasting. He was choosing. And expecting to be chosen back. That kind of interest is dangerous for you, she warned. His eyes softened in a way so subtle most wouldn't notice. I have survived worse than interest. And what if I'm worse? A slow, deliberate smile spread across his face. Then I'll finally be entertained. She walked around him, reclaiming her space behind the desk. He turned slightly, watching her with open appreciation. I don't like being told what I'll do, she said. Neither do I. So here are my terms. His brows lifted slightly, intrigued. Dinner, she said. Public. No bodyguards hovering. No theatrics. Agreed. And if I decide I'm not interested? He stepped closer once more, not touching, just close enough for her to feel his presence. Then I walk away. She searched his face for deception. There was none. Just confidence. And something else now. Curiosity. Fine, she said at last. 8, he replied. And then, without another word, he turned and walked out of her office as if he hadn't just disrupted her carefully controlled world. The door closed softly behind him. Pelumi exhaled for the first time in minutes. Her assistant peeked in. Are you okay? Pelumi adjusted her blazer. Yes. But as she stared at the city skyline beyond her window, one thought echoed clearly. This wasn't about dinner. This was about power. And for the first time in years, she had met a man who didn't want to overpower her. He wanted to match her. Which made him far more dangerous than she expected. And far more tempting than she was ready to admit. Dinner had gone too well. That was the problem. Pelumi Adebayo didn't expect laughter. She didn't expect intelligent conversation that stretched beyond flirtation and ego. And she certainly didn't expect Kang Min-jae to listen. But he had. Truly listen. Which made what happened 3 nights later even more infuriating. The city was unusually quiet as Pelumi's driver turned into a dimly lit road leading toward her gated estate. Then headlights flared behind them. Black SUVs. 2. Moving with deliberate precision. Her driver stiffened. Madam. I see them, she replied calmly. The SUVs accelerated, gliding past and blocking the road ahead with unsettling grace. Her driver reached instinctively toward the emergency call button. Don't, Pelumi said quietly. The rear door of the nearest SUV opened. And he stepped out. Kang Min-jae. No rush. No panic. No raised voices. Just quiet authority. He adjusted the cuffs of his coat before approaching her car like a man arriving at a scheduled appointment. Her driver looked at her in confusion. Pelumi opened the door herself. She stepped out slowly, heels clicking against the pavement. You have a very dramatic way of asking for company, she said coolly. His eyes moved over her, assessing, confirming she was unharmed, calm. I asked for dinner. We had dinner. And I wanted another. So you staged an abduction. His expression didn't change. I staged urgency. Her brow arched. Try texting next time. A faint smile touched his lips. If I texted, you'd ignore me. She didn't deny that. The truth irritated her more than his audacity. He stepped aside and gestured toward his SUV. Come with me. No. The refusal was immediate. His eyes darkened slightly, not angry. Just calculating. I wouldn't have stopped you if I intended harm, he said evenly. That's not reassuring. He walked closer, slow enough to allow space for her to retreat. She didn't. I wanted privacy, he said quietly. Without negotiation. Without your office walls. Her pulse flickered. Privacy. That word felt more intimate than threat. She crossed her arms. You could have asked. And you would have made it a business arrangement. He wasn't wrong. She studied him carefully. Where are we going? My home. Your penthouse.
Yes.
And why would I agree?
His gaze held hers steadily.
Because you're curious.
Silence. He was right. Again.
After a long pause, she turned to her driver.
Go home. I'll call you. Madam.
It's fine.
Kang opened the SUV door for her. Not forceful. Not demanding. Waiting. After a breath, she stepped inside.
The elevator ride to the top floor was quiet.
Not tense. Just charged.
When the doors opened, Pelumi took in the view first.
Floor-to-ceiling glass.
Ocean stretching endlessly into the night. City lights shimmering below like scattered jewels.
Minimalist decor. Dark wood. Clean lines.
Everything precise.
Like him. You live alone? She asked.
Yes. By choice. Yes.
That answer lingered.
He removed his jacket slowly, placing it neatly over a chair before pouring 2 glasses of wine.
No servants. No hovering guards. Just them. You're comfortable here, she observed.
It's the only place I don't need to perform. That admission surprised her.
He handed her a glass. Their fingers brushed briefly. Heat sparked. She ignored it.
This doesn't look like a criminal's home, she said. It isn't.
And what is it?
He stepped closer to the window, staring at the horizon. A strategist's.
The word hung in the air. She joined him near the glass wall.
The ocean wind howled faintly beyond the thick panels.
You don't seem like the monster people describe, she said quietly.
And you don't seem impressed by the reputation. I'm impressed by actions, not whispers.
His gaze shifted to her. There was something different tonight. Less posturing. More intention. Why me? She asked finally. He didn't answer immediately.
Instead, he studied her, the way the city lights caught against her dark skin, the confidence in her posture even in unfamiliar territory.
You don't look at me with fear, he said.
I don't fear men. That's obvious.
She sipped her wine slowly.
That's not enough reason to intercept my car.
He stepped closer. Not touching. Just close enough for her breath to change.
You challenge me, he said.
And you don't flirt with my power. She held his gaze.
And that unsettles you. It attracts me.
The honesty in his voice was disarming. No games. No dramatic seduction. Just truth. The air thickened.
You don't intimidate easily, he continued. I built myself from nothing. Intimidation doesn't pay bills.
His lips curved slightly.
You see me as a business risk. You are.
And yet you're here.
Her heart thudded once.
He was right again. Curiosity, she said.
Desire, he corrected softly. Her breath hitched. The word hung between them, dangerous and undeniable.
He stepped closer. Now there was only inches between them. I don't force what can surrender willingly, he murmured. His voice was lower now. Intimate.
Her pulse hammered in her ears. You assume I'd surrender, she replied, though her voice wasn't as steady as before. I assume you'll decide. Slowly, carefully, he reached up, not grabbing, but brushing a loose strand of hair behind her ear. The touch was brief.
Electric. Testing. Her body reacted instantly. And she hated that he noticed. Tell me to take you home, he said quietly. It wasn't dominance. It was a challenge. She could end this. Right now.
Instead, she whispered, you talk too much. A slow smile spread across his face.
That was not a refusal.
The ocean crashed violently outside. But inside the penthouse, something more dangerous was building. Not violence. Not coercion. But the unmistakable beginning of surrender.
Not because she was overpowered. But because she was choosing to stay.
And Kang Min-jae, the man feared across continents,
realized in that moment something unsettling. He didn't want to conquer her. He wanted her to want him.
Which was far more dangerous than any kidnapping could ever be.
And far more powerful than fear. The rumor spread quietly at first.
Me too.
Then rapidly.
The Korean Mafia boss had been seen more than once with Pelumi Adebayo.
I've waited for this.
In public.
Me too.
Unhidden.
Don't stop.
Unapologetic. That alone was enough to unsettle powerful men. But Pelumi wasn't interested in gossip. She was interested in truth.
And truth, she had learned long ago, always hid beneath numbers.
It started as instinct.
Then became necessity. Pelumi sat alone in her home office at midnight, laptop screen illuminating her sharp features. Files were spread across her desk, shell corporations, offshore accounts, investment pipelines stretching from Seoul to Singapore to Lagos. Kang Min-jae wasn't just a crime lord. He was an architect. His money moved legally in daylight and strategically in shadow. But what caught her attention wasn't the empire. It was the pattern. Scholarships funded anonymously in rural villages. A children's hospital wing in Busan under a different corporate name. Orphanage renovations routed through 3 layers of foundations. No publicity. No credit. No signature. She leaned back slowly. "You're not just a monster," she murmured to herself. And that was more dangerous than if he were. Because complexity made him human. And humanity made him tempting. She didn't warn him she was coming. She walked into his penthouse unannounced, security stepping aside without resistance. He was at the window when she entered, sleeves rolled slightly, no jacket, city lights outlining his silhouette. He didn't turn immediately. "You've been digging," he said calmly. She didn't deny it. "You've been hiding," she replied. He finally faced her. No anger. No outrage. Just quiet acknowledgement. "You don't trust easily," he observed. "I don't fall blindly." A faint flicker of approval crossed his face. "Good." She stepped closer, stopping a few feet away. "You fund hospitals," she said. "Yes." "You support children who will never know your name." "Yes." "And yet you let the world think you're heartless." His jaw tightened slightly. "The world believes what is convenient." "That's not an answer." He walked toward her slowly. Not threatening. Measured. "You think power is clean?" he asked. "No. But I think morality is a choice." Their eyes locked. A silent clash of philosophies. "You judge me," he said quietly. "I analyze you." "And your conclusion?" She hesitated. That was new. "I don't think you're evil," she admitted. His gaze sharpened. "That disappoints you. It complicates things." He stopped just inches away. "Complication is honest." The tension in the room wasn't explosive. It was dense. Heavy with everything unsaid. "You told me you claim what you want," she said softly. "I do." "And what exactly do you want from me?" There it was. The question that had been circling them since the gala. His eyes lowered briefly, not to her body, but to her lips, before rising again. "I want the only woman in the room who doesn't look at me like I'm a throne." Her breath caught slightly. "And what do I look at you like?" He didn't hesitate. "Like I'm a man." The vulnerability in that statement was subtle. But real. She felt it. He stepped closer, close enough that the heat between them was no longer theoretical. "You don't fear me," he continued. "I don't romanticize danger." "You don't flatter me." "I don't need to." His hand lifted slowly, paused near her jaw. Waiting. Not taking. Waiting. She didn't step back. His fingers brushed lightly along her cheek, a slow, deliberate touch that sent a quiet shock through her spine. Not possessive. Exploratory. "Do you know what that does to a man like me?" he murmured. She swallowed softly. "What?" "It makes me want to earn you." The words landed differently than his first whisper at the gala. There was no conquest in them. No dominance. Only intent. Her hand rose instinctively, pressing lightly against his chest. She could feel his heartbeat. Steady. Controlled. But faster than before. "You're not used to earning," she said quietly. "I'm not used to needing to." Silence. Heavy. Charged. "You think this is about control," he said. "Isn't it?" "No." His thumb traced lightly along her jaw again, slower now. "It's about equality." Her pulse spiked. Equality from a man who controlled empires? That felt more intimate than desire. "You don't date men like me," he continued. "No." "And I don't pursue women who don't bend." Their foreheads nearly touched now. Close enough to feel each other's breath. "So what happens when neither bows?" she asked softly. His voice dropped to something deeper. "Then we build something neither of us can break." The weight of that possibility settled between them. It wasn't lust anymore. It was tension layered with respect. Attraction woven with admiration. Danger tangled with potential. Her fingers tightened slightly against his chest. "You're still dangerous," she whispered. He leaned closer, lips hovering near hers but not touching. "I've never denied that." "Then why should I trust you?"
His answer was immediate.
Because I don't lie to you. The honesty in his tone made her heart stutter.
And for the first time, she realized something unsettling. She wasn't afraid of him hurting her physically. She was afraid of what he could do to her heart.
He pulled back slightly, just enough to search her eyes.
You can walk away, he said quietly. It wasn't a challenge. It was permission.
And somehow, that made staying far more powerful.
She didn't move.
Instead, she whispered, you're not the only one who's powerful. A slow, appreciative smile curved his lips.
I know.
And in that moment, power stopped being a weapon between them.
It became balance.
But balance between two dominant forces is fragile. And fragile things break beautifully, or catastrophically, and neither of them yet knew which path they were walking toward.
It wasn't supposed to happen that night. Pelumi had come with a purpose. Strictly business. A contract revision.
A financial structure adjustment for one of Kang Min-jae's offshore expansions.
Numbers. Deadlines. Boundaries. Safe territory. But storms have a way of changing plans.
Rain battered the glass walls of his penthouse like impatient fingers. Thunder rolled across the Lagos skyline, heavy and commanding. Pelumi stood near the long marble island in his kitchen, tablet in hand, walking him through risk exposure.
You're over-leveraged in Singapore, she said firmly.
If the market tightens, you'll have to liquidate aggressively. He leaned against the counter opposite her, sleeves rolled, tie loosened slightly.
No jacket tonight.
No performance. You assume I'll allow the market to tighten, he replied calmly. You can influence many things, she said.
Not everything. A small pause. His eyes lingered on her longer than necessary. And you assume I don't plan for that.
She stepped closer, placing the tablet down between them.
I assume you plan for control, she corrected.
Not vulnerability.
The word lingered. Vulnerability. His gaze darkened slightly.
Careful, he said quietly. With the truth. With me. The thunder cracked louder this time, sharp, sudden. Neither of them flinched. You hate that I question you, she continued.
No, he said.
I hate that you see through me.
That stopped her.
Silence thickened between them.
I don't see through you, she replied softly.
I see complexity.
His jaw tightened slightly.
That's worse.
Why?
Because complexity invites attachment.
The honesty stunned her. For a man feared across continents, he was startlingly direct when it came to her.
You're not afraid of enemies, she said.
No.
But you're afraid of needing someone.
His eyes flashed, not anger.
Recognition. He pushed away from the counter, closing the small distance between them.
You think this is about fear? He asked.
I think you don't like losing control.
I don't. Her chin lifted slightly. And you're losing it. The air snapped.
His hand moved, not aggressively, but decisively. He grasped her wrist.
Firm. Not painful. Just enough to stop her next step backward.
The contact sent a jolt through her body.
Careful, he repeated, voice lower now.
Her pulse raced.
Or what? She challenged.
His grip tightened slightly, still controlled, his thumb brushing the inside of her wrist where her pulse beat wildly. You keep provoking me. And you keep responding.
The storm outside raged harder. Inside, something more dangerous built. He released her wrist slowly, but his hand didn't move far.
Instead, his fingers slid upward, tracing along her forearm, deliberate and unhurried. Her breath hitched. You should leave, he said quietly. The words contradicted the way he was looking at her.
Do you want me to? She asked. A long pause. No.
Her chest rose and fell more noticeably now. Then stop pretending this is about control, she whispered. It's not.
No. She stepped closer this time.
On purpose.
Their bodies nearly touched.
It's about restraint, she said softly.
His jaw flexed. You don't know how close I am to losing that.
Her hand lifted, pressing lightly against his chest again, feeling the strength beneath his shirt, the rapid beat he tried to conceal. Then don't lose it, she whispered.
That was the breaking point. Not because of defiance, but because of permission.
His other hand slid to her waist, firm, grounding, claiming space but not taking more than she allowed.
Tell me to stop, he murmured. The storm outside felt distant now. All she could hear was her heartbeat.
You talk too much, she said again, softer this time.
And she kissed him. It wasn't gentle. It wasn't hesitant. It was collision. Weeks of tension, of circling, of power and pride, all crashing into one breathless moment. His hands moved instinctively, one at her waist, the other cradling the back of her neck, deepening the kiss with slow, deliberate pressure. He didn't rush. He explored, learned, tasted. And when she responded, fingers sliding into his hair, pulling him closer, something inside him snapped. Not control, but distance. He lifted her effortlessly, setting her on the edge of the marble counter without breaking contact. The cool stone against her thighs contrasted sharply with the heat between them. The kiss softened, slowed, shifted. His lips traced along her jaw, pausing near her ear. "Do you understand what you're doing to me?" he whispered. Her breath trembled slightly. "Yes. And you're not afraid?" She pulled him back to her lips in answer. Choice. Not surrender. Choice. His hands roamed carefully, memoizing curves, learning reactions, never crossing into force. The storm outside masked the sound of quiet laughter between heated breaths. For the first time, Kang Min-jae wasn't calculating. He wasn't strategizing. He wasn't dominating. He was simply reacting to her. And that terrified him more than any rival. When he carried her toward the bedroom, it wasn't conquest. It was inevitability. The lights were low. The rain relentless. And as he laid her down gently, hovering above her, searching her eyes one final time, he saw no fear. Only fire. "You're dangerous," she whispered. His thumb brushed over her lips softly. "So are you." And that night, the Korean Mafia boss who had claimed he wanted sugar discovered something far more intoxicating. Not sweetness, not submission, but a woman who met his fire with her own. And for the first time in his life, he didn't want to win. He wanted to burn with her. Power always attracts enemies. But love exposes where to strike. Pelumi felt it before she saw it. The shift. The eyes that lingered too long. The black sedan that appeared twice in 1 week outside her office building. She didn't panic. She observed. But Kang Min-jae noticed faster. "You're being watched," he said calmly one evening as they stood near the penthouse window. She didn't look surprised. "I assumed." His jaw tightened. "You didn't tell me." "I can handle myself." His gaze hardened, not in anger, but in something closer to frustration. "This isn't a boardroom negotiation. And this isn't the first threat I've faced," she shot back. He stepped closer. "You are not a message to be sent." The words were sharp, protective, possessive. She lifted her chin. "I am not fragile." "I know." His voice softened slightly. "That's what makes you exposed." That unsettled her more than she expected. Exposed. Not weak. Important. It happened in daylight. Which was bold. Reckless. A warning. Pelumi had just exited a meeting when the first gunshot shattered the glass door behind her. Time slowed. Screams erupted. Security scattered. Before she could react, a strong arm wrapped around her waist, pulling her down hard behind a concrete barrier. Kang. He had arrived unannounced, something he'd begun doing more often, though he pretended it was coincidence. Another shot rang out. Closer. His body shielded hers completely. "You shouldn't be here," she whispered urgently. His response was cold and precise. "I am exactly where I should be." His men moved swiftly, controlled chaos, returning fire with frightening efficiency. Within seconds, the attackers retreated. Silence followed. Heavy. Terrifying. Kang didn't move immediately. He was scanning. Assessing. His hand was at the back of her head, pressing her firmly against his chest. Protecting. When he finally looked down at her, his composure cracked. Just slightly. "You're bleeding." She frowned. "I'm not." He lifted her hand gently. A thin line of red traced her forearm, a graze from shattered glass. Minor. But his expression darkened like a storm about to break cities. "It's nothing," she said calmly. To him, it was not nothing. It was vulnerability. Back at the penthouse, he cleaned a cut himself. No staff. No delegation. His movements were controlled, but tension radiated from him. "You should have told me about the car," he said quietly. "You don't own my safety." His hands paused, then resumed wrapping the bandage with careful precision. "I don't need to own it," he said. "I just refuse to lose it." The words hung heavy. Lose it. Lose you. He didn't say the second part. But she heard it. You can't eliminate every threat, she said gently. I can eliminate enough. His tone was lethal now. This was the man the world feared. Not the one who kissed her slowly under stormlight. The one who dismantled enemies without blinking. She reached out with her uninjured hand, cupping his jaw. He froze. I don't want blood spilled for me, she whispered. His eyes met hers, dark, conflicted. They drew blood first. It was glass. It was close enough. For the first time, she saw it clearly. Fear. Not for himself. For her. You're my vulnerability, he admitted quietly. The confession was raw. Unarmored. She stepped closer. And you're not as heartless as you pretend. His hands slid to her waist slowly. Not heated. Grounding. You don't understand the kind of world I live in. Then let me stand in it with you. That shook him more than the gunfire had. You would share that burden. I'm not asking to be protected from your world, she said firmly. I'm asking to be part of it. Silence stretched between them. Heavy. Sacred. No one stands beside me, he said finally. They stand behind. Or they fall. She stepped even closer, her forehead touching his. Then make room. The following days were brutal. Rivals were identified. Assets were frozen. Quiet retribution unfolded across continents. But something changed in Kang Min-jae. He didn't isolate her. He didn't lock her away under protection. He brought her into strategy meetings. Asked her opinion. Listened. You're thinking emotionally, she told him during one heated discussion. My emotion is calculated, he replied. She held his gaze. No. It's protective. The room went silent. His men avoided eye contact. No one had ever spoken to him like that in front of others. But he didn't reprimand her. Instead, he dismissed the room. When they were alone, he studied her carefully. You risk too much by challenging me publicly, he said. And you gain too little by surrounding yourself with silence. A long pause. Then, slowly, he nodded. You are dangerous. She smiled faintly. I told you. That night, as they stood once more on the balcony, city lights glowing beneath them, he wrapped his arms around her from behind. Not possessive. Protective. His chin rested lightly near her temple. I have destroyed men for less than what I feel for you, he said quietly. She turned in his arms, searching his face. And what do you feel? He didn't answer immediately. The word was heavier than bullets. Finally, he exhaled. Attachment. It wasn't poetic. It wasn't dramatic. But it was honest. Her fingers traced the scar on his brow gently. And does that frighten you? Yes. Good. His brows lifted slightly. Why good? Because it means you care. His grip tightened subtly. I care enough to burn the world down. She shook her head softly. Then don't burn it for me. He studied her. What would you have me do? Build something instead. The idea lingered between them. Build. Not destroy. Protect. Not dominate. For the first time in his life, Kang Min-jae considered a future that didn't revolve around power alone. And for the first time in hers, Pelumi realized she wasn't falling for the myth of a mafia boss. She was falling for the man who shielded her without hesitation. Who admitted fear without losing strength. Who saw her not as conquest, but as equal. And that made her far more dangerous than any rival could ever be. Because now, if anyone tried to take him from her, they would discover that Pelumi Adebayo did not bow, and she did not break. 3 months changed everything. The attacks stopped. Rivals went silent. The city exhaled. But Kang Min-jae did not. Because peace had never unsettled him before. Until now. He stood on the balcony, the night air cool against his skin, the Lagos skyline glowing beneath him like a kingdom he could conquer with a phone call. Once, this view had meant control. Power. Dominance. Now it meant something else. Responsibility. Behind him, soft footsteps approached. He didn't turn immediately. He didn't need to. Pelumi Adebayo's presence felt different from anyone else's. Not submissive. Not cautious. Steady. She slipped beside him, resting her forearms on the railing. You're quiet, she observed. I'm thinking. Dangerous habit. A faint smile tugged at his mouth. I used to think silence meant strength. And now? He finally turned to look at her.
Now I think it meant isolation. Her expression softened slightly. That's a heavy realization. So is this.
He stepped closer. Not looming. Not claiming. Just present.
Do you remember the first thing I said to you? He asked. Her lips curved. You were arrogant.
That's not what I asked. She turned fully toward him now.
You said you wanted sugar. And that I was having you tonight.
Her brow lifted slightly.
You were very sure of yourself.
He studied her carefully.
I was wrong. The admission lingered between them. She waited. You weren't something to have, he continued. You were someone to earn.
Her heartbeat shifted. Subtle, but real. And did you earn me? She asked quietly.
His eyes held hers. I'm still trying to.
He reached into his coat pocket.
For a split second, instinct flickered, not fear, but anticipation.
He pulled out a small velvet box. Simple. Elegant. No theatrics. Pelumi's breath caught.
You don't believe in fairy tales, he said calmly. Neither do I.
He opened the box. Inside was not an overly flashy diamond.
It was a ring custom designed, emerald stone at its center.
Her birthstone. Her color. Strong. Deep.
Yes.
Unapologetic.
I don't want to own you, he said quietly.
I want to stand with you.
Her eyes lifted to his.
Marriage, she whispered.
Partnership.
The word hit harder than a proposal ever could.
No cages, he continued. No silencing your ambition. No asking you to step behind me.
His thumb brushed lightly over her knuckles.
I want the woman who challenges me in boardrooms.
Who questions my strategy.
Who doesn't flinch when I'm at my worst.
His voice lowered. I want Pelumi Adebayo. Fully.
The city lights shimmered below them.
Her throat tightened. You're asking for something permanent, she said.
Yes. You've built your life on control. I'm choosing to risk it.
Silence wrapped around them like velvet.
For the first time since they met, there was no tension of dominance.
No power struggle.
Just vulnerability. You once told me you claim what you want, she said softly.
I did.
And now? He stepped even closer, his forehead resting gently against hers.
Now I ask. The shift was complete. From conqueror to partner. Pelumi searched his face carefully. This man had intercepted her car. Had shielded her from bullets. Had confessed fear. Had dismantled enemies for crossing lines. And yet here he stood, asking. Not commanding. Not assuming. Asking. You terrify half the world, she said. I know.
You don't terrify me. His voice dropped to barely above a whisper. I never wanted to.
She placed her palm against his chest, feeling his heart. Steady, but vulnerable. I won't shrink for you, she said firmly. I would never ask you to.
I won't tolerate violence that endangers innocence.
His jaw tightened slightly. I will protect what is ours.
But I will build more than I destroy.
That was the compromise.
Not perfection.
But evolution.
Her lips curved slowly. You're still dangerous.
His thumb brushed along her jaw. So are you. A long pause. Then finally.
Yes.
The word was soft. But powerful. He slid the ring onto her finger. It fit perfectly. Of course it did. He didn't do anything halfway.
He pulled her into his arms. Not possessively. Securely. The kiss that followed wasn't fiery like their first.
It was slower. Intentional. Deep.
A promise, not a conquest. When they parted, his voice brushed against her ear once more.
I don't want sugar, he murmured. She smiled against his lips.
What do you want? He looked into her eyes, the only place he had ever felt truly challenged. Forever. Below them, the city continued, unaware that its most feared man had just surrendered the one thing he guarded most fiercely.
His solitude. And Pelumi Adebayo, the woman who never bowed, did not become his possession. She became his equal. His partner. His fire.
And somewhere between danger and devotion, the Mafia boss who once claimed the night,
learned that love was the only thing worth surrendering to.